Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with Limp, and I've got something just a little bit different for you today. We are going to take a look at For Glory, the game of gladiatorial combat and deck building, and it is by Spielcraft Games. Now, they were actually nice enough to reach out to me, and they asked if I would review the game for them. Told them I would be happy to do so when I got just a little bit of time, and I had a little bit of table space open up, so we are going to jump in here and take a look at this game. Now, if you haven't played a deck builder before, think of it kind of like an engine builder, all right? So you're going to try to gain certain cards that's going to build your engine that you're going to use to gain whatever score it is you're going for. A similar type of gameplay would be something like Dominion. My wife and I loved playing Dominion back in the day. We actually had a little saying for that game, because in that game you would buy estates. That was the purpose. You wanted to build up your hand so you could buy estates, and those were the points. Whoever had the most estate points wins. And we always said it was peanut butter duchy time when it got close to the end of the game, because the duchies would start selling out real quick as people were trying to buy up any of those last points. Now, this game is a little different. So you're not necessarily trying to buy your victory like you would in Dominion. In this, your money goes towards purchasing things like your gladiators, who we're going to show here in just a few minutes. And they're going to fight for your victory in the arenas, which we have shown here. And the purpose of this is to actually gain these little blue gems. These are called glory, and that's what you're wanting to get. The first person who gets 6 of those gems wins the game. Now, first thing I want to do is obviously take a look at the components. Rulebook, standard fare, colored, glossy paper. If you've seen a rulebook, you've seen another. So nothing horribly special as far as that's concerned. Real easy to read, nice, well laid out, so good there. And the majority of the components for this are going to be cards, so I'll go ahead and address the cards. Fine as far as quality is concerned. I would have maybe preferred just a bit thicker, because there is going to be a bit of shuffling for this game with the 3 decks that you have to worry with. So you might want to sleeve them, but they're not so thin as to fall apart or anything like that if you don't sleeve them. So they're fine for that purpose. I mean, middle of the road as far as cards are concerned. The rest of the components are outstanding. Nice thick player boards here. There's going to be 2 of these, one for each player, and you guys can see these are nice and thick, sturdy, not warped at all in the board. And the play pieces components, like our coins here, the money, I mean, listen to that. Doesn't that just sound nice? These just, they feel good in your hand. They look good. I mean, hell, they would probably spend them back in the day, back in the Roman gladiatorial days. These things are just excellent. I already pointed out the glory pieces, nice little plastic, I don't know, gems, I guess you could say. And these are great, love those. And then we have nice wooden tokens for wound markers as well. So those extra components are great. And then we have a few extra metal components. Things like this. This is the crowd's favor. It's symbolized by a big helmet piece. And this thing also, if you can hear that, nice and heavy, real thick piece of metal. It's just a nice component to have in the game. So on top of that piece, you've got a couple of these metal swords that represent the reigning champion for these arenas here. So just real nice pieces. I love those extra pieces that come with the game. So most of it, again, cards, but the extra components like your glory, your wound tokens, your nice metal pieces for the coins, those are all outstanding. Plus, something, let me grab it. I wanted to show you guys, here is the box that comes with the game. It's got a nice insert to allow you to store all your pieces, and then easily be able to contain not only the cards for the game, but any expansions they might do can easily fit here as well. I like it when a company has like a base box like this that can easily hold not only the base game, but any expansions that come along. Some games are real good about that. Some games aren't. it makes it so much easier if you do get the expansion that you can just jam it right in there with all the other components, and you don't have to worry about trying to keep multiple boxes. It can all fit nice and easy. Sentinels of the Multiverse had a box set up similar that way, although my Sentinels box got very, very heavy because I had a lot of expansions for that. That thing was just full of cards. But this, yeah, plenty of space to add all the expansions that they could dream of making for this. All right, so our big thing here is going to be our player board. It is nicely laid out, letting you know where everything's going to go. Looking around here, we've got our glory tokens. This is where you keep basically your victory points. Your villa, this is where you're going to put things like arenas and patrons. We're going to touch on what all these specific words mean as we kind of explain the game. But those guys kind of help as you're going along. Deck and discard, obviously you draw from here, you discard to here. When this runs out, you reshuffle this and make a new deck, just like with every engine building, deck building type game there is. Now, each player does start off with their own starting deck, and they have done a great job with symbols to designate what cards are what. The draw decks, the supply decks, are also labeled with their own symbols. But for each of the two players, there's a symbol in the top right for the starting card. So we've got one deck of 14 that says 1, and then another deck of 14 that says 2. So real easy to know real quick, just looking at them, which ones your starting cards are. So you'll shuffle those up and make your deck. And then on over here to the right side, we have our reserve. And shorthand for that is when you're drawing your cards, after you've done your play, you have to discard any of your remaining hand. Well, sometimes you might not want to discard that card. You want to have it for later. This is where you're going to put those tactics and reaction cards that can be played at certain parts of the game. They're going to be stored here in your reserve, but you do have to pay money to pull those cards out. So you'll have to have a few coins for that. And obviously right here is listed down our coin tokens, which you see I've got stacked right here ready to go. Now, also, when we're looking at our board, you see it says up here, Machinations and then Arena. This is the 2 phases to the game, all right? So, I mean, one basically resolution, kind of like the end phase, but this is all the stuff that you're going to be doing in basically building your engine. And this is basically what you're going to be doing when you're using your engine. So when your gladiators are fighting, this is what's going to be going on in this phase. And this is all the scheming, the getting senators bought off and buying extra money and tactics to use in the arena. All that's going to happen during this phase of the game. Gotta say, I really do like the way that they have this all listed out, the sequence of play. You know, it's all listed down 1 through 6 and then 1 through 3 over here for the arena phase. Everything that you're going to be doing is nicely laid out. Now, me personally, I've always found the best way to show is by doing it. So what we're going to do is we're going to play through a couple of hands of Machinations, let you guys see how that works. I'll draw from my deck, draw from my opponent's deck, the wife's deck up over there. We'll run those cards out, let you guys see how you're going to kind of build up your engine, build up your hand, build up your deck. Let you see that, and then we'll set up some arena fights as well so I can cover both sections of the game. Okay, had to step away for just a sec, but we're back at it. And like I was saying previously, I like to show it, right? Like to show the game. So let's start with this Machinations set of the game, the start of it. So the first thing that you're going to do is ready patrons and arenas. Those are going to be located here in your villa. We don't have any yet. But basically, if they had been exhausted by basically being turned to the side, you would just ready them back up to signify that they're good to go. Now, take action. So we've got to draw our 7 card starting hand here. Let me draw 7 cards out. Start out. And when you're first starting out the game, the person who goes first, the other guy gets this crowd favor token. So that's why I've given it to the second player over there. I'm drawing out my first 7 card hand. Let's see, this is 6 and 7. Here we go. And let's flip these and see what we got. We got money, which you're going to have a bunch of this. So you play this card just like any other deck builder. You get 1 money for it. 2 money, 3 money, all money. Okay, I thought I had shuffled these up, but evidently I did not shuffle it up as well as I thought I had. My first hand is all money. Okay, so I've got 7 money. to spend. Now your actions are going to be buy, play, or reserve. And you're going to just keep doing these until you pass, right? Until you're done spending your money. So buying cards, obviously, that's going to be buying from these 3 decks. First deck here is the training deck. So this is going to have reactions and tactics and things like that. Stuff that will make you more powerful in combat. Like you see this one here, Savage Blow, costs 7, but that's fairly expensive, but it deals 3 damage to a target gladiator. And that's just awesome. That's a fair amount of damage, actually. This one is a reaction, so you would play this when something happened. So this one, when damage is assigned, and we'll get into that here in just a sec when we start talking about the gladiators, but assigning damage is specific. All right, so there's like assigning damage and then resolving the damage, which are 2 different things when it comes to this game. So when damage is assigned, when you're on that step, you can prevent up to 2 damage to a target gladiator. That one will cost us 5. We see here with the economy cards, this is the stuff you're going to buy to have more influence, which is this symbol here. And you need to have as many of those in your villa as your gladiators cost. And as an example, this gladiator cost 1 influence, while this gladiator costs 2. So you need to have influence in your villa to be able to play certain gladiators. So you're going to have to be buying cards like that. Cards like this is actually a good card. Cheap, 2, cost of 2, but you gain 2 coin tokens. And those can be used pretty much anytime. So coin tokens are awesome. This one is just flat out worth 5. And since it costs 7, I think that's actually what I'm going to go for. Spend all 7 of my money here. Throw this in my discard, and this is going to go on top of my discard. So you see just the same way that a normal deck builder is going to be. You're going to buy cards, and you're going to fill up your discard, and then when you shuffle this back up again, you're going to have a new deck with new cards in it. Take our top one, flip that over, and this is refilling the supply, which is actually here. Refill them all to 3 face-up cards. So don't do this until that step. I went ahead and did it because I am out of cards, so I can't do anything else at this moment. I can't buy any more cards, but there is a specific step when you do that. So let's see another influence here, Crooked Senator. And then when we're looking up here, this is the gladiator deck where you're going to buy good gladiators to fight for you. And just really quickly, when we're looking at the gladiators, their bloodlust number is up here. I'll explain bloodlust here in just a sec. I already told you about the influence. You need to have so much of that, and you need to have enough for all the gladiators. And if something happens that costs you influence, right? So you spend a card, you exhaust it, or whatever. If you ever do not have enough influence for all the gladiators that you have deployed out to the arenas, then you have to discard gladiators out of the arena until you're back down to the influence number that you can support. So don't go over that number. Some gladiators do have special abilities, like this one has a reaction. And then here is their stats. This one has 2 attack, 2 health, and 1 agility, and she has a cost of 5. So we'll put her back up there. I can't do anything else as of yet, so I will play another round here in just a sec with my other cards to show you guys what the other starting cards are. So after you have finished all of your actions, so you saw me do a buy. A play would be if I had a senator card like this, like say I own this card, playing the senator down to my villa to gain that influence, all right? So playing cards like that, or doing a reserve, and that is again what I was mentioning before, putting tactics and reactions over here to be paid for again later to bring them back up into your hand to use them during the combat section. So discard any remaining. Most of the time you're probably going to burn through whatever cards you have in your hand unless you have like just a spare coin you can't spend. Refill the supply, which you guys saw I just did. You do it at that step. So don't do it as you're buying. When you're buying, you only have the cards that are available unless you play some card that gives you an ability to refill the supply. We do it that step and then draw another 7 cards here. And since we know we start with 14, I know that these last 7 are going to be my next hand, so I can just grab them up. And if you need to draw and the deck is empty, shuffle your discard to create a new deck. I do not need to draw yet, so I do not shuffle this up just yet. And then only if you have the crowd's favor, which is the other player right now, do you check for the arena phase. Now, when you're checking for the arena phase, the way that's going to work is you're going to look at all the gladiators that are deployed out here to the 3 arenas that are on the board. Now, the ones that you buy, and you do start with a couple in your deck. Let me grab one out to show you guys as an example. This number up here, the top right, that bloodlust number that I was mentioning to you guys earlier. When you're doing this check for the arena phase, that's the number that you're going to look at. So if all the gladiators out here, when you total all their numbers together, yours and the opponent's, if it meets or beats this number, which is the boast number, then a arena phase is going to take place. So it listed down right here, if it meets or exceeds the boast bloodlust, then start this. So you're going to keep doing this phase of the game over and over and over again until all the gladiators who are deployed equal or beat that number. And this number goes up. It starts at 6, and then it goes at 14, 19, and I think the last 2 are 24. So you'll have multiple rounds that'll happen, and each time you're going to have more and more and more powerful gladiators being able to be deployed to the board. But that's something that you got to consider, that do you have the crowd's favor? Does your opponent have the crowd's favor? If he has the crowd's favor and it's very close to being able to hit this number, well, you might not want to hold back on deploying any gladiators in your hand. You might want to go ahead and place them out, because if you don't, your opponent might fill it up and trigger it. But there is a chance to place gladiators into the matches later on, just in case you do have a few that you missed. Like this one, nicely enough, you may late register this gladiator for free, which we're going to talk about late register here in just a sec. All right, so I've reached up here and I have grabbed the wife's hand. She's playing with me. I'm playing vicariously for her. And these look all nice and shuffled. Maybe I shuffled that deck twice. I don't know, it's possible. So they're having their machinations phase, and I am going through them real quick and determining how much money she's going to have to spend. So it looks like she's got 5 coin cards. She also has a scheme here. You can just tell that by that scheme and then the symbol here at the top. And it lists down what happens with a scheme. This one, gain 1 coin token, and you may discard the face-up cards from one supply deck. Then turn 3 new cards from that supply deck face-up. So you notice that it does say may, not must. So it is a choice on whether or not you want to discard those, but it is worth a token, so that is nice. Always good to have the token, so we could play this card for its token value just alone if we want to do that. So we'll put that one into this card and grab an extra coin token, and they can be spent in combination with these cards for this buy phase. All right, so, and on top of that, she also has a influence, a crooked senator that you start with, and we're going to play that to her villa. So she has 1 influence ready to go, and she has 5 money left, I believe. So what do we want to buy for her with her 5 money? And I think we're going to buy her this gladiator, because this is a cool gladiator. It looks kind of like the wife, so we'll go with it. And it's got a cool reaction. When you use a tactic, deal 1 damage to a target gladiator. And I'll show you more of those tactic cards when we get into the phase, but they were the ones that I was pointing out down here. Like this Savage Blow is specifically a tactic card. So this reaction would be played right at that moment. There's what's called the reaction window. You have to play your reaction when the reaction says to. So when you buy the gladiator, same thing, it's purchased. We will place right there on her discard pile to be shuffled up for her next hand. And she's going to do the exact same things that I just did on my turn, discard the remaining hand. She doesn't have any refill the supply, so we will just draw 1 more gladiator. We got another Greek name that I cannot pronounce. We'll put him right there. And then draw 7 cards, 7 left for her. So she's got her hand drawn. And now this would check for the arena phase. We do see nothing here to trigger the bloodlust number. So we're going to go back into the start of the machinations phase. So I'll let you guys see me run one more hand here for both of us. So we play through all our starter cards, and then we'll show some arena phase. Now, something neat that I like that they included in the starter deck is the call, and that's gain 2 coin tokens or choose another card other than call in your hand and remove it from the game permanently. This is basically allowing you to call your deck, trim your deck. That was one of the things I loved about Dominion when I was building my deck, is I would gun for those cards that allowed me to trim my deck down from the starter cards, so I could have just the high money cards, the market cards, the specific ones I wanted to give me all the extra buys and money, so I could play my tight, powerful deck fast. Instead of having a big bulky deck that had a bunch of crappy cards in it, just a small deck with a bunch of good cards in it. So call, useful one to have. We'll probably just go ahead and use this for a couple of coins in it. We'll discard that. Grab myself a couple of coin tokens here. Very nice. I'll be spending those here soon. And I also have the scheme. And obviously we'll be playing my Crooked Senator for my own influence. And now I've got, let's see here. I've got a couple of gladiators, the starting gladiators that you start with, which are relatively crappy. So both of them have the ability to late register for free, but remember, I can't hold them, right? And you can't put gladiators in your reserve just yet. There actually are some special circumstances. I think there's an ability on a arena card that allows you to put gladiators into the reserve, and then some gladiators have that special ability, something that allows you to pull them out later, kind of a surprise for your opponent. But either you have to play them or discard them. And we'll probably go ahead and just put these guys out. Now, something you have to remember when it comes to gladiators and placing them in this set of arenas is these are the fleeting glory arenas, the 2 without the arena deck underneath them and only 1 glory token, and they both have these sword tokens on them. The one that has 2 will have the remainder of the arena deck on it. And when you win here, you gain 2 glory and you keep that card. It becomes a card that you can play. You see here, it has a tactic that it allows you to play. So there's certain bonuses. I think this one's the one you kind of want to win more often because of the extra glory. But if you win here in one of the fleeting glory ones, by having this sword token, you get to use that special ability. So there is a reason to go here. However, when it comes to the 2 fleeting glory ones, only gladiators can only be put into 1. So if I were to put a gladiator here, then no gladiators can be put here. So you're only going to have gladiators in 2 of the 3 arenas at any one time. So let's do it this way. I will take and play Cestus to here. So he's in the main, and will be played here into this arena. Just go ahead and get some guys out there. And I have 3 coins left, 2 coin cards, and 1 that allows me to get a coin token. So effectively, same thing. It's a coin. And I have some coins here. Let's see. I want to get some more influence. Always a good thing to do. And this reduces the cost of your buyback. This allows you to get coins, though. Oh, and something I need to mention when it comes to buying is that you do your buy action separately, right? So you can't just like add up a whole bunch and say, well, I'm buying all this, right? So that card that I had in here that was 5 coins worth, I could only spend that towards a single buy. I can't divide it up. So see these 2, 2 and 3, I couldn't play that single card to buy both of these cards. I could only buy 1 with the remaining coins effectively going to waste. You don't get change. You don't get to buy multiple cards. Each buy is done individually, so try to do that to the best of your ability. All right, so to give myself a little bit more varied deck, I am going to spend these. This will give me an extra coin token, which I'm just going to get as a coin, and I will spend another 2 on top of it to gain myself this card, which is a reaction. When damage is assigned, prevent up to 2 damage to that target gladiator. So this is a reaction, something I can play during my turn. Very nice. So my deck's bulked out just a little bit. I've got some gladiators on the board. I got a little influence, but you'll notice neither of these gladiators require influence. And the other starter deck starts with the exact same gladiators. So the bloodlust number cannot exceed or meet the 6. So you are going to have to buy gladiators. You can't just lay out the first 2. In other words, an arena session cannot start in the first round of the game. Some gladiators are going to have to be bought, shuffled up in your deck, and then dealt out and played before you can actually have a fight kick off. All right, so let's run through the remainder of it. I will just refill up the deck down here. Got an evade card, which prevents 3 damage. Very nice. And I will shuffle this up here in just a sec off camera to draw myself 7 more cards here in a minute. Let's play through the wife's hand very quickly. Her last 7. Make sure it is 7, 3, 4. Yep, perfect. So let's pull out her money and her gladiators. She'll probably do the same thing. Deploy some gladiators around. She's got a fair amount of money and some call here. And just to make things interesting, we're going to counterbalance. So we'll have her play opposite here. Cestus against Andy, and then Andy against Cestus. Remember, she can't put 1 here because there's already a gladiator here. So this is the fleeting arena that's going to be used in this round. 4 bloodlust is out so far, so it's going to take another shuffle before the potential for this gladiator that she bought to come out. And she has the ability to gain 2 coins and has another 4. Now remember, she's supposed to play this to gain 2 coins, but it's the same difference as getting the 2 that she can spend. So she has up to 6 plus any in her pile. Let's see, what does she want to get? Well, she's already got another gladiator, so let's see about getting her some cards. Let's get her this tactic. So that's 6. We will spend another coin here on top of it to take care of all of this spending. And we will gain her the Savage Blow tactic. Tactics do come very much in handy when you're playing in the arena phase, but remember, to get a tactic in there, that's going to have to be drawn into the hand and then put into your reserve and then paid for to be brought back out into that arena phase. All right, so we'll flip this over and bam, we've got ourselves another Savage Blow. All right, perfect. Maybe I'll have a chance to get into that. So here's the thing. It's gotten a little long-winded, a little bit more than I actually anticipated. And I want to get a little deeper into this because I really do actually like this game. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break it up into 2 videos. I wanted to try to cover it all in one video, but there's too much stuff going on here, I think, to really break it down into just one video. So I'm going to cover the arena phase and the final thoughts, all right, into a second video. I hate to do that. I know most people like to see everything into one video and a little shorter and all the other good stuff. I will go ahead and tell you just right now, I like the game. I think the combat system here is neat. The missus and I have always enjoyed the deck builder type games. They're nice and fun. The one drawback I have seen right off the bat for the game is it's strictly a 2-player game. One of the fun things for Dominion was the fact that it was a multi-way game. So there was the potential to screw over this person, or this person tries to maybe help you a little bit, but it was like cooperative, competitive in a way, just, you know, backstabbing each other and how you played the game, but everybody was going for their win. It would be neat if they could have this set up to where you could have 3 or 4 people who are, you know, running their gladiatorial coliseums and their gladiators and do it that way somehow. But I don't know, they would have to change up maybe some of the rules a little bit, because it does work very well as a 2-player game. I just love deck builders with multiple people involved. Right now, it's definitely giving me that Aeon's End vibe, because Aeon's End is a deck builder, but it's a deck builder that's cooperative, and the fact that it's multiple players working together against a AI monster enemy that you have to fight. Definitely check that one out if you haven't. So this is like the competitive version of that, set in gladiatory, the Gladiator Age, which I love Gladiator, so love the movie Gladiator too. Awesome. All right, but we will pick up again with the arena phase and let you guys see how all that combat's going to work, because I got to give it to them. There is a strategy, to how this is played. It's relatively basic as far as your gladiators are concerned, because you can see very easily, like, Cestus here is going to beat Andy. This Cestus is going to beat that Andy. Actually, it'll probably be relatively close, because while this one doesn't do as much damage, he has a lot more agility, which means he goes first, unless other gladiators get put there that change it up, add more agility to make him go quicker. So there is very much a strategy to this on how it's going to go back and forth. But it's not just the gladiators you have to worry about. It's these tactics and reaction cards that can really change things up, because there's things like counter blow. So you do a good chunk of damage and you think you've wiped out an enemy combatant and you're going to win that arena, but then they play that tactic or that reaction card that turns that damage from their gladiator to your gladiator. In essence, they knocked your weapon away and they caught you with a blade or something. You know, that's what this kind of represents. Really neat. Really like how that plays. You got to be on your toes on that, and really thinking about the choices that you're making. So you can't just blow all your money getting as best of stuff as you want, because you got to try to have a few coins set aside so you can have that reserve, have those cards to play in the arena. But I'm getting long-winded. This is stuff I need to bring up in final thoughts and when we're getting into the arena. So I will touch on that one in the next video. Definitely feel free to put your questions down below, any comments. I will definitely try to answer them to the best of my ability. If there's something specific you want to see, let me know, and I will try to cover it in part 2. All right, you guys take care. I will see you in the next one.